are listening to Two Babies in a Business, a podcast where Peter and I talk about our lives as entrepreneurs, how all the things affect us in our marriage as parents and as business owners. And today we are going to dive into all of our things. We still have a few things in this, bucket of things.
Bucket of goodies.
Bucket of goodies. So I pulled out, oh, you can't even see
I
it.
can't
My
read that.
light's too bright. Trust.
Trust.
That's an interesting one.
Trust me, you're going to enjoy this podcast.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. All right. So trust. I mean, there's a lot of ways we can go with this conversation. I think let's start maybe with business trust, because I think trust is literally the foundation of every business relationship. And I think probably a lot of people would say trust needs to be earned, especially in business, and trust can be broken extremely quickly. Broken trust, I think, is extremely hard to repair. And I think that people in business, especially, and I'll just say, I don't know, it just seems as we get, as business gets busier and as the number of different people trying to offer different things gets uh, busier. There's a lot of just everybody's sort of, I don't know, just seems very competitive out there. And so like trust is literally so critical. It's crazy. I think about from a sales perspective, the 1 million emails I get, all the time on, 10 times your SEO results for pennies. It's like there's no trust in that email. I hate cold email because there's no trust, right? And so like that's not a way to build trust. That's not a way to build a client. That's not a way to build a relationship, right? So I think from a sales perspective, it's sort of like the foundation. I think that what I'm building when I'm having a sales meeting is I'm building trust. I'm building confidence. And then when I'm passing it off to my team to execute, we're passing on trust. And it's so delicate throughout every aspect of all of those different processes. And it like literally could take one little slip up in the process, and trust gets eroded, and then it becomes very difficult. So that's my initial thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, we often talk about being a trusted advisor, right? So I think that, in everything you're talking about too, I think we always strive to not just be the salesman or the SEO expert or the public relations officer. We're trying to be the trusted advisor. Of course, I'm going to ask Christina this question because I trust her and she has my best interests at heart. And I think from a business perspective, we try to do that, or not even try, we do that through definitely showing that their best interests are at heart. You said you need social media. Well, let's ask the question why, and
Yeah.
not just sell you a package because you're thinking you need it, or someone heard you need it. And okay, you're making interesting business decisions and these are your goals, and you are the trusted advisor. And I think that what I really love about that role that I play in business, so yeah, you and sales have created this relationship, and sometimes you do such a great job that they just want to talk to you. You've become the trusted advisor, which is not a bad thing. But I look at some of our long-standing clients, and I feel really grateful for the relationships that I have with some of these really senior leaders, especially in the tourism space, who trust me with really interesting conversations, and I get to come to them, or come alongside them in their process, and we get to share stories about staffing and business ownership, or just leadership, or our own growth. And I think that when you have that type of relationship, you organically just get to grow so much more out of it. You're not just I guess to me, it's the difference between the consultant and the partner,
Yeah.
right? A line item versus someone who's helping you move your business forward.
Well, and it's interesting that you kind of say it in the context of that line item, because I'm going to throw into this mix a conversation that we've been having around growth. And I really sort of been reflecting on this. And again, this kind of goes back to the sort of example I used about these people that send these cold emails about the amazing results for, no money and how amazing they are. And just like nothing trustworthy about that message at all. But like, I feel like when you're just chasing growth, you're sort of really kind of maybe sometimes potentially compromising really the trust and the value and the what you bring to the table. Whereas, maybe we've been having a conversation around sort of how much do we want to grow and or, so it's like, do we really focus on growth or do we really focus on over serving the amazing clients we have and just like being the best trusted advisors we possibly can for them and doing incredible by them. And I think if you do that, if you really focus on that, you're going to grow your business anyways because they're going to refer you because they trust you and they then trust you enough to refer you to other people. And right. So like it's sort of an interesting dynamic that happens when you really focus on trust and building that trust and becoming that trusted advisor and just becoming like indispensable to that person or that group or that company, and just doing good by them no matter what, just doing good by them. That's your only goal in life. Then everything else will just sort of, I think, happen, right? Good things are going to happen, right? As opposed to sort of just, yeah, growth. So, just to take this example a little further, it's like if we're really focused on, geez, we need to make a revenue number, and then our motivations change.
Yeah.
And then it's about just making the sale and just, okay, yeah, you want social media, we'll get you social media, without asking you the why and what are you trying to achieve and is this the right approach and right. So and I think that's what really would make you stand out, by asking the right questions. And sometimes people may not like that, and maybe that means they're not a fit for you. Maybe
Yeah.
they're just looking for somebody to just take their money. That's okay too, because sometimes people are in different mindsets in business at different times.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's great advice for, someone looking to pursue consulting in anything, right? What is having that conversation, and if they're wondering what your why is. I even think about simple, maybe not simple, but like relationships we've had with contractors in our home, where it's like, we had some radon mediation this past year, and it's like, the guy that did that for us was very aligned with our values. He could have sold us the biggest giant thing because of whatever, but he kind of met us where we were at and had really good conversations about us, about what we were trying to achieve, and what our financial pieces were, and a phased approach, and helping him with the work. I mean, that was you, not me. But there was a relationship there. It wasn't just this quick sale. And he could have
Yeah,
said, this
he
is the
could have.
price, and we would have said, okay, like, okay,
Yeah.
and it would have set us back.
Yeah. He could have made a lot more money off of us, 100%. And he was like, you know, we don't need to do that. We can do this. And if you help me, I can save you here. And it was just like, yeah. And it's like, I will refer to that guy forever. If anybody ever tells me they have a radon issue, that's your guy, right?
Well, and we
That's it.
already have referred him. So I think it's, the lesson is, you're hiring a consultant or a contractor, are they after your why? And that's a good thing. And then I think on the other side too, as a business owner, a consultant trying to grow your business, try the approach of asking the question and meeting them where they're at. And to your point, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes, you are needing the sale, you're needing the revenue, you're saying yes. But I think we've, over the course of many years, learned many valuable lessons, that when you're in you know, the client can smell desperation.
Yes.
So, in those situations, you're never going to come out on top anyways. And two,
Yeah.
when you rush the process and sell something you don't need, or skip a step, or don't find out the why, it may be a short-term bump in a revenue or a great thing, but they never last long term. I think
They
we
never last long
we
term.
we learned that lesson with really a great friend that we came in and did some marketing and communications consulting for this past year.
Yeah.
And it was a large investment per month, absolutely. And for us, it was, yeah, okay, we're friends, we get it, here we go. And we skipped a step. We skipped a really important step around really finding the why. I think we made a lot of
Yeah.
assumptions on what the why was, instead of slowing
Yeah.
down, and we went our separate ways in business because there was an alignment there. And
Yeah.
yeah, trust, it's important.
Yeah, it's really foundational. Yeah, so I guess moving on to let's talk about trust in parenting because I think there's sort of multiple different dimensions to this. There's obviously trusting your kids,
Mhm.
but I think probably a bigger dimension, and I think a dimension where a lot of parents struggle is trusting your spouse in terms of their approach to the kids, because obviously different every human has a different thought and a different approach, and uh, and you do things differently than I do. But you know, we I think trust each other that we're both rowing in the same direction in terms of the ultimate outcome, right? In terms of how we our philosophies on raising children, our philosophies on what we think is important in terms of our children and their behaviors and things like that. And so, you know, maybe you would do things differently, and sometimes you do things that I would do differently, but it's just about trusting that at the end of the day, we're sort of all aligned in terms of the overall direction, right? I think where a lot of parents struggle. And it's, you know, and it's not like overt mistrust or anything. I mean, sometimes it probably is, but sometimes it's just sort of like it's under this underlying, you don't even know about it, mistrust, because maybe, you know, just to give an example of, I don't know, money, you know, maybe one parent has one philosophy on money and another parent has another philosophy about money, and maybe there's an over like, I don't like their philosophy on money and I'm right and they're wrong. And so the things they're showing our kids or doing with our
You're
kids, and this is,
misaligned on money, you got a bigger problems.
well, no, but no, but 100%, but like that like that just like manifests into big trust issues, right? You know, like totally, right? So, and then it's just sort of how do you behave? And I mean, I guess that example is not only about parenting and children, but that's also about being a spouse and a couple and a married couple in terms of trust with money, right? Like if you're not aligned on that, trust becomes very hard, and the relationship becomes very hard, and that's probably the crux of a lot of spousal relationship issues and divorce and all those types of things, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Going backwards a bit, my number one advice always for a new mom is just leave your leave your spouse alone. Dad will always do it different than mom, but dad is supposed to do it different than mom, right? Like I say that all the time. I've said it to many women that, mom and dad are not supposed to be the same, or the two parents are not supposed to be the same. That's why they're different. You're not supposed to be carbon copies of each other. You are different people, you provide different things, you are teaching your kids the same things in philosophy, but different ways in terms of tackling those things. And you know if dad uses the bottle this way and mom uses it that way, and as long as you're aligned on, as long as you're not coloring outside the box, doesn't matter how you color in the box. And
Yeah.
so as long as you have established the outline together as a unit, you'll be fine. I think too, from uh I have like a weird story about trusting your partner. I think the I remember when we were first dating and I would get on the back of your motorcycle with you, especially that first sport bike you had that was very scary. And to me, that was like a ultimate trust is a huge thing for me. I'm an
Yeah.
eight, right? A D. I trust is I like control. I like to be in control. And so trusting someone is kind of an ultimate that. And I had many times when I would reflect on the back of the bike that like this is like the ultimate. I have put 100% trust in you. I have no control over this situation. On the back of a
Mhm.
bike, hanging on. There's nothing for me to control here.
No.
Um, so I feel like as trivial as that is, and a weird 23-year-old Christina hanging on the back of a bike, um, it taught me a lot about trust, and I think helped me realize how much I did trust you right away. I certainly never
Yeah.
had hung out on the back of a bike of anyone else before, so I think you'd know.
Yeah. Yeah. And just reflecting on trust as a parent and on a spouse is something that Christina likes to say all the time, which is commit and deliver. And I feel like a lot of trust is broken between parents and kids and spouses on, you know, yeah, I'll be there. I'll come pick you up, or, yeah, we're going to do something together and I'm going to give you my full attention, or, yeah, I'll be back. I'm just out with the boys for one beer and I'll be back at 11. Right.
Heard that
Um,
one. Heard that one.
yeah. So it's like, and it's like funny, right? Because you, and I'm just going to say this as a husband, you're always like, oh, well, what I know she wants to hear is I'll be back right away. But actually, she just wants to hear,
Oh,
like, okay,
true.
I'm out for the night. Don't worry about it. I'll be home when I get home and I'm not going to drive home. Don't worry. Right. Like, that's ultimately what you want to hear, like, just the truth. And it's like, so it's like me sitting there lying to you for, you texting me lying, oh yeah, I'm just here for one more beer. Oh, well, we just decided to have one more and after this. And it's like, it's just like little breaks of trust along the way
Yeah.
that is going to lead to, I'm going to be hungover and in shit the next day. Right. So, but
No,
like
I
rightfully
think,
so, and rightfully so though, because it's like, hey, listen, I'm out for the night and I've learned this with you. And it's like, listen, I'm out for the night. Okay. No problem. Have fun. Be safe. See you in the morning. Sleep on
yeah,
the couch so you're not snoring. Right, but it's like, I don't have to, but that's like just something that men get in their heads for some reason. I need to just tell them what they want to hear, and it's like, no, I just need to be honest, and I need to so that they can build trust, right?
yeah,
And I think with kids is too, right? It's like, it's like, yeah, we're gonna go and play, we're gonna do what you want to do, child. And then it's like, oh, but first we're gonna do this, and first we're gonna do this, and first we're gonna do this. And it's like the kids, what they want to do is last. And it's like, that's just like little breakdowns in trust, that it's like, and eventually they just stop trusting, right? And everybody creates defense mechanisms against that, right? So, and we all get jaded, I think. So I think kind of, if you're going to be around trusting, nurturing relationships, you can build a person up. But if you constantly have trust broken, then you become jaded and stop believing anybody in anything, right? And it's not really a great place to be from a life perspective.
yeah. Yeah, I think kind of in this same vein, but more overarching too. I think that when you can build a trusting relationship and kind of that vulnerable trust, you you can relax a bit more and not necessarily relax, but in life there are big decisions to be made, right? In parenting, obviously lots of big decisions, and a marriage, in a business, as business owners, as a leader with staff, as a consultant, as a trusted advisor. There's lots of big decisions to be made. And I think that when you allow yourself to trust the person who's opposite to you in that relationship, whether it's, you know, spouses, whether it's mom, dad, whether it's leader, employee, or owner and staff, um, I think that you begin to see, okay, I understand the decision making process here, or I don't understand it, but I do know that this person has my best, you know,
I trust that they have my best interest at heart, or that that we have the same, we're aligned on like the end goal, right? Yeah.
exactly. And I think that, in those hard conversations, or those, you know, maybe not even hard, but big conversations, you get to come to the table in a different way when you trust someone, right? Trust
Yeah.
allows you to just have that knowledge that you have one another's back, that even if a conversation seems one-sided, or even if it seems like it's been manufactured in a certain way, you can understand it's for the two of them, or the group of them, or the whatever it is. I think that sometimes, even as a small business, and as owners, we have to make decisions. And I think we're really fortunate to have an amazing team that comes alongside us and challenges us and asks us good questions, and knows we're not just kind of there being crazy pants. But in the past, I think that there have been relationships with staff where we haven't had a true trusting relationship, and when big decisions are made, they unfortunately take it personally, or it feels personal, because we haven't established that trust with them, or vice versa, or the other piece. And I think that too, in a relationship, in terms of a marriage. I mean, you brought up the, like, beers with the boys perspective, and absolutely, I think we did a we used to be not an argument, but like a thing for us often. I'm
Pain point. Let's call it a pain point.
a pain point. I'm coming home soon and you weren't home soon and I'd be waiting up. And yes, you've done work there in terms of building my trust in terms of honesty. No, like it's a night. So, and we have some ground
Time
rules.
tonight.
Right. Like you have some ground, like text me when you are coming home. And so I just have some timelines in case I have woken up and looked at text messages. But also for me on the flip side too, it was about trust. Right. And, as I let my own guard down and, trusted you more and more, it also allowed me to relax about the thing too. Yeah, I trust him. Right. And to your point, yeah, there was probably some broken trust early on because it was like, I'll be right home. And 6 hours later, but for me too, it's like, well, I trust that he's responsible, especially since becoming parents too. I trust that this is his home, that he's coming back. He's not going to disrespect that he's going to be there in the morning. Like, I think for me too, there was allowing myself to just trust and, hey, this is a healthy relationship that we're in and we're all good. I think did wonders for that too.
For sure. Yeah. And again, I guess that speaks to trust needs to be earned. And it takes time sometimes to earn that trust. And like early in a relationship, it's like, you don't know. We don't know. Is this long term? Are we really legit? Or, like what's going on, right? Or is this, over time, it's like, yeah, obviously we're together. This is it. We made decisions. We're married, right? And then it's like, yeah, it's sort of easier for you to trust, and then for me to just trust that you're going to be okay with the decision that I make of staying out here and there. It's not like I do it. It'd be different, I think, if I did it every night.
That's another podcast.
That's another podcast. Well, I don't do that, so it's all good.
You're fine. All right. Well, that's trust. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Two Babies in a Business. To learn more, visit ciprcommunications.com or catch us on our socials at CIPRcoms.